Yo, what's up? Brian O here. If you follow me on Instagram, I like to occasionally do some AMAs, some Ask Me Anythings. Today, this is that. Check it out. First one on the AMA from the Whiskey Genius. I actually really love that handle. Favorite resource for the techs in the field. I've been a behavior tech in quite a while. Behavior tech, for anybody watching, typically high school degree minimum, plus usually a little bit of, 10, 20, 30, 40 hours of training. And these are the people that are the bread and butter, really driving out behavior change programs in the field of behavior analysis. And when it comes down to it, it is a really extremely hard job, underpaid job, stressful job, and many are sitting at home right now. If I had to think about this in a day-to-day, really useful resources, I would say is just whoever you can find that is a mentor in your field. I feel like it's a little bit of it could be perceived as a cop-out, but like the greatest resource I had when I was in the field was somebody who was there to help answer my questions as often as I potentially had them. I never had one person, I actually had three distinct people. There was two graduate students in the program at the University of Nevada, Reno, where I studied, and then one that was also a couple years ahead of the program. Invaluable resources, really. If I had two things I could point to, one would be all of the old books and articles and things that are out there. There's actually a ton of this available on PubMed, but the more you can slowly learn to read about this field and understand most things that we've talked about that are important, that are pressing issues that we face day to day, have really been addressed historically in the past. And lastly, I'm gonna say conferences actually. Now, these can be extremely expensive, but maybe check out your state conference, start to get a feel of what these are like. Actually, right now is ABI, the big, giant, annual, largest meetup of behavior analysts happening online. These things can be just a really great place to really get a sense for the breadth of the field, the people that are in it, network, and things like that. So maybe consider attending a local one when things, open up and that's allowed. All right, the next one is from Kitty Cat Carrot. We got another great name here. How come you're always wearing a hat? I am balding really fast. I am rapidly going bald AF. I actually made a video, I'm gonna link it down below, called Why I Wear a Hat. So hope you enjoy it. The next one's from Murray. How is attack not turned into an intraverbal when the what is it question is used? Really what's going on here is a transfer procedure. So in teaching language skills to children with autism-related disabilities, we have transfer procedures. The idea is that you're teaching one type of verbal skill and transferring it over to another type of verbal skill. So likely what is going on here, since I'm not on the case, I don't know what it is that's going on, but likely what is going on and what I was taught in grad school as to how these sort of things work is you're using one skill set that you have down for the child that they're really good at, such as maybe responding to questions, things like that, which would be your intraverbal, and then you're trying to get it under the control of something else. So in this case, the labeling or the tacting of the item. So this intraverbal to tact transfer procedure may be one. We used to use what we call a lot an echoic demand, so they could echo certain words, and we're teaching that if you echo these words, you can obtain these sort of awesome reinforcers in life. So a lot of early verbal behavior intervention has to do with these transfer procedures. There's a document that I have from Patrick McGreevy on them that I'm gonna link down below. Really fantastic, very technical, but very well put together. And you really can't talk about it without getting the technical aspects of our field. So it's a very well done paper. I love it. Thank you for the question. All right, looks like Judy Birkin in New Jersey, it looks like. What got you into this field? What's your why? Really, I love it for a few different things. First of all, it really helps me understand the world around me and how to get more of what I want in life. So it's a very good perspective, worldview to carry, and a self-management system is what I guess, personally find the most use out of in my day-to-day. Second of all, the ubiquity or ubiquitousness, the fact that human behavior is everywhere and intertwined into everything that we do just was fascinating to me. And so the sense of like job security was another. And I'd say the last one, and not that these are all, 1, 2, and 3, they're really all, I would say, should be weighted equal, and I view them that way, is that you can help people. Like I can make a measurable, noted change in someone's life if they want to. And that was it. Those three things seemed like job security forever and something that was really helpful to me and I was passionate about and I could help other people out. Just seemed like a very righteous, cool way to live my life. All right, next one, behavior in the raw. What topic have you covered so far that you find most fascinating? Well, this one's tough. This one's tough and I've had to think for a second. There's not a particular topic that I think is most fascinating. It's really the fact that our field can approach anything that has to do with human behavior. So there's a few different types of this or applications of this that I've linked down below in a video that I made. And I would say it's anybody, if I could find a common thread, that would be anybody that's figuring out a behavioral solution at scale. So they're figuring out how to help people, not just on a one-on-one basis, but how to help them on multiplicatives above that, right? To where clinicians, tools, resources, products, services, whatever it is reaching more and more people with the same resources. And so Headsprout is one example in there. It's just a phenomenal resource where about 22 people were able to teach millions of children to read as a result of their hard work. I find those things most fascinating. All right, next one, TL Jones 5281, easy way to remember the explanations of dimensions of applied behavior analysis. This comes down to a larger question, I think, of how do you memorize all the terminology in our field and how do you get fluent with things? I actually made an entire video just before this, gonna make sure it's linked to where you can go back and learn about how I studied for the test. For the most part, this comes down to, if I could shorten that, learning in as many modalities as you possibly can. So I'm learning how to read, speak, write, all of these sort of different modalities. And then you just gotta put the work in. Like there is no way to get around this field without putting in the work. We used to, with the 7 dimensions, see how fast we could describe them. Applied behavior analytic, conceptual, systematic, technological, generality, and effective. See, still got them, still there. And I could talk about each of them in the same sort of way. Applied, social significance, technological, describing our procedures in a way that they can be replicated. Like these sort of fluent sort of things come out as a result of just putting in a lot of time with the material, talking about it, and doing sort of checks. So I wish you the best of luck, but it's largely put a ton of work in, master the material in different modalities. Next one's super cool. So we have Zor, we're gonna go with Zor. This one's hard to pronounce. What do you think about the Venus Project? I think the Venus Project is freaking cool. So much so, I actually did an interview about 3 or 4 months ago. It was on the back burner as a result of this global pandemic stuff. And I'm gonna resurface it, work on editing, and it should hopefully be out in the next couple weeks. If y'all don't know about it, I've linked the Venus Project down below. Great question. I hope that you enjoyed the video that I put out on it, but also note that there's a ton of cool stuff out there as well. Next one, Rob T24. To what extent have you explored functional analytic psychotherapy? To the extent that I know that it's a third wave behavioral therapy, that I know it's kind of in congruence with the other ones there of acceptance commitment therapy and such. And I know things like CRB1, CRB2s. That's about it. There's a special issue that one of my colleagues was at the time was publishing in that had to do with the fluency, looking at rate as a measure in that. So if you've read into that at all in the special journal series that they did on that, it was pretty cool. That's where I got abreast of it, but I don't use it in my day-to-day. So it's about where all of my, I would say, knowledge stops. Check out more on FAP down below. All right, next one by Jenny Simone. How many miles do you run per run? So on Instagram, I like to post now and then some of my health goals, things that I'm doing. Pretty infrequent, but one of them this month is actually running 100 miles. Now this is no easy feat in the sense of lacing up and running 100 miles over a month. However, it's also extremely easy compared to the top runners and the people that are consistent in this area. So one thing I wanted to work on slowly over this year was becoming a consistent runner. With the pandemic and still being allowed to go outside and hit the trails, I figured what's a better time than to work on it in this context, especially since I'm so used to lifting weights and such. So anyhow, that's a backstory. I run anywhere from, 2.5 to about 6 miles is my average. It's not consistent day to day, but it's probably about 3 times a week right now, 4 times a week, which is way better than I was before. It's all about those small changes, right? All right, next one. What recommendations do you have for someone who is still about a year to write the exam? This is MNTHJP is the handle. I actually turned this into an entire video. It was such a great question. So again, linked above. And last one. This is from Clara Tiedman. All right, so Clara writes, there's often observation or comments regarding BCBA supervision and fieldwork experience. How do we, as a field, work to make changes to facilitate a higher level of requirements from the field work experience? It's actually something that was talked about quite extensively on the podcast that we run, Controversial Exchange. We talked about it in the sense of like an online discussion, so I'm gonna link that. But as for my thoughts, the field seems to be set up in a way in which you have a couple different ways to go about this. You can be really great as an independent practitioner, say in supervising and making people as best as you possibly can by raising the bar in that sort of way, or these sort of global expectations, which are usually set out by some entity, whether that's the Association of Professional Behavior Analysis, Behavioral Health Center of Excellence, Association of Behavior Analysis International, did I say APBA, Association of Professional Behavior Analysts? I repeated one of those twice there. And then Behavior Analyst Certification Board. Like, these are some of the main entities to pay attention to in some sort of regard. They're kind of setting expectations and minimal competencies of our field in different ways. And so the way I look at it is you can work on being a really great individual practitioner that expects a lot, teaches a lot, sets up a system, be really effective at raising the bar. Or you can be someone that tries to get into those systems that kind of set these sort of standards. So for example, if you want to, in some sort of way, impact the BACB, the minimum competencies, the certification process, working to try to become a board member, an employee of, or a SME, the subject matter experts in our field, or SME, the subject matter experts in the field, is just one way, or ways, or becoming a SME, that subject matter expert that they call for now and then. I see those as ways. So you kind of dedicate, like, I want to be a part of the change on the systems level, and that's a lot of work, and you have to work in these larger systems, or you can just work on that individual path. So anyhow, I hope this was useful. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. It actually makes a difference. Thanks to those that submitted. And I guess I will see you in the next one. That's your Daily BA.